Welcome to Harvey Dent's Spirit of Truth. I'm your host, Harvey Dent, and today we are going to go back in time 7 years to the summer of 2017 when we debunked the Federal Reserve's debunkers that claimed that individuals do not have accounts at the Federal Reserve. Now, before I start, I am in no way claiming that you can pay bills using a Federal Reserve account. This revisit of historical transactions is not in any way, shape, or form to encourage you to try and make transactions against a Federal Reserve account. It is just to prove that I, myself, was able to verify that the Federal Reserve account that was attached to my Social Security number did exist and that my name was on that account. Without further ado, let's take a look.
You are responsible for your own actions. One day I was home minding my own business when another YouTuber hit me up, telling me that on the back of my Social Security card there was a number that started with a letter. That letter corresponded with a number that would be one of the regions of the Federal Reserve Bank, that were I to locate the routing number for the bank that was associated with the letter on the back of my Social Security card, then I could use the routing number and my Social Security number in order to complete transactions online for purchases or bill paying that would allow ACH bank account entries for payment. So my first method of verification was going by online transactions. So I first went to Barclays and bought like $1.6 million in CDs, paid all my PG&E bills that just kept popping up after I paid them, so I kept paying them. I bought some gold bullion. I opened an Ameritrade, a TD Ameritrade account with $100,000. Eventually, all of these charges were returned with the ACH code of R34. RDFI participation had been limited by a federal or state supervisor.
Now, it is important to note with this return code that the financial services institution has apparently accepted and validated the routing number and account number in question, but when they execute the debit instructions, the bank rejects the transaction. So the account and routing number are verified and validated.
Looked online for more information on this, and even banking professionals could not make heads or tails of this code. Unfortunately, the debit did not go through for some regulatory reason that they don't understand. So basically, there are state or federal employees employed to reverse charges from these accounts. That's all I could gather from, that code. There are other codes that identify, incorrect account number, routing number, or mismatch of account name and account number. So none of those codes applied. Only just reversed by a state or federal supervisor. Now, the second method of verification was I got a bank employee to verify that the name on the account I was trying to access was the same as the name on the account at the bank that I banked at.
So that check that we deposited, when we tried to collect it from
Federal Reserve.
Came back as altered and fictitious.
Altered and fictitious as far as the check,
yes,
or
the check.
Now, if when you processed it through ACH, there's 2 points of authentication, correct? The account number and the name on the account.
Yes, and they do a little more research, like when it comes to the signatures. They look at the paid account, but they didn't give us our funds. The Federal Reserve Bank, they did not give us our funds, so they returned it, and they would not allow us to do so.
They wouldn't allow you to do what?
To collect the funds.
Okay, but the name on the account is the same name as here.
Yes.
It's the name on the account is the same name as here.
Yes. They said that it's altered. It's on their end, unfortunately.
I understand. Okay.
Now, that discussion occurred at Patelco Credit Union, which used to be Pacific Bell Credit Union. back in 2017. And needless to say, after that discussion, she was a manager. She returned with her manager, and I was informed that my account would be closed. They no longer wanted to do business with me. I had a $5,000 incoming GoFundMe that they basically jacked about $2,000 of it for to pay what had been spent of that check that I deposited, as well as a balance that was due on a credit card. So they closed my account. I was never contacted by the FBI or any authorities that might be pursuing charges, because how can you charge someone for writing a check against their own account? I'm pretty sure that back then, even this is even more apparent today, that they were debunked. That individuals do have accounts at the Federal Reserve. They just aren't owned by the individual that thinks that the name is theirs. They're owned by the entity that owns the name that the account is under. That's right. You don't own your name. Which is why all of the transactions were returned as unauthorized transactions. And it's also why no charges were ever pursued against anyone that participated in this movement that we took part in. Well, except for Randall, Beane, and Heather Ann Tucci, who were the patsies that were picked up in order to bring the movement to a grinding halt. Again, this video looking back on my research into the claim that the Social Security numbers are attached to a Federal Reserve account is not in any way, shape, or form encouraging you to try and make transactions against these bank accounts. You are responsible for your own actions. Until you find your truth, keep looking.